Welcome back to Outriders. In this video I want to talk to you about a few different topics, but the main focus is the toxic part of the community. So we're going to start off with the crash folder on PC for the game. The developers in their latest patch said that it was 300 megabytes and that they had sorted it, because every time there was a crash or anything like that, people would end up having the files be dumped into a folder. That folder was supposedly sorted out by the developers, but it wasn't 300 megabytes. I've seen a couple of people say it was 20 gig plus, and then I had a comment, someone said it was 46 gig. So 46 gigabytes of space taken up by crashes, and just to put that into a better perspective, 46 gigabytes is the entire installation size of Watch Dogs Legion on the Xbox Series X. That's how big some of these crash folders can actually get. The next thing I want to talk about is Hunt the Prey for the Trickster, and that was supposedly fixed in the last patch as well. But someone left a comment on someone else's video, and I screenshot it because the comment was quite funny. So they said, you cannot teleport behind that target, you cannot teleport behind that target, you cannot teleport behind that target, and you guessed it, you cannot teleport behind that target. Now you're in the mob's face, you can teleport 2 yards. Now the skill won't activate for 10 seconds. You cannot teleport behind that target. You cannot teleport behind that target. You cannot teleport behind that target. Skill won't activate. Skill activates, does nothing, and goes into cooldown. And this is fixed. So it turns out their patch wasn't the greatest, especially because I've heard a lot of people say Gravity Leap still doesn't work for the Devastator. Not only does Gravity Leap bug out, but Earthquake does it too. For some reason, ever since the demo, if I don't move whilst I'm using Earthquake, I'll get stuck in that animation. And it's at this stage I'm not even going to expect any fixes, at least for a few weeks, if they even do it correctly, because they've done a couple of patches now, and the game just doesn't get any better. It's the same as other live service games, in terms of, they do a patch and it fixes way less than what it breaks. It seems to be 1 step forward and 25 steps back every single time these games are patched. But now we're going to move on to the toxic community, and I just want to say before we jump into the state of the subreddit, that even though it's never happened to me, I totally do not agree with people kicking others before they've managed to get their loot. I don't know why people are doing it. It is incredibly toxic. It's a PvE game, and you don't get the other player's loot. There's just no point of kicking another player, but it seems to be a very prevalent issue, and off the top of my head, I don't even think the developers have actually acknowledged it, and there's been a lot of people speak about it, so I don't know what's happening on that front. I don't think they're actually going to patch any of that stuff. They've still not done the restoration or anything like that. And the game's been out for over a month now, so a lot of people have left. If I quickly, before we jump into this subreddit post, if I have a look at the concurrent players, there are, at the time of me recording this, there are 12,200 people playing, and there's been a 24-hour peak of 29,000, but that was for a Sunday, so the players are always highest at the weekends. So 12.2k. I do really strongly believe we're going to dip into 4 figures, probably before next week even begins. But onto the state of the subreddit, and this is the moderators and how they're basically trying to treat the community like a bunch of children. So just quickly want to clear this up. When I say that they're not the only development team to do this, basically, as you'll hear, Bethesda did it, and I know that it's the moderators of the subreddit, but the developers and publishers themselves are letting their moderators do this sort of thing. So I just wanted to clear that up, and let's jump back into it. They're not the only development company to do this though. Bethesda did it with Fallout 76. Most of the previous, if not all of the previous Fallout games have been single player only. Then Fallout 76 launched in a very, very bad state. I mean, it has got a lot better since they've been patching it. But there were a lot of people that were cheating and modding, and because it's online, Bethesda took their own approach to dealing with those people, and they started banning accounts. They then said to the people that got banned, if they want their account back, they have to sit there and write an essay explaining to Bethesda why it's bad to cheat and why you shouldn't do it. Which was absolutely ridiculous to expect that from a gaming community. I mean, we're not in school. We are consumers of their product. But now, the moderators on the subreddit have done exactly the same thing. There's 2 things I want to point out with this. So their state of the subreddit, May 2021, says, hey everyone, It is now exactly a month since Outriders released, and we thought we'd make a post to address some of the common post issues, as well as some new regulations we'd like to put forward. Reminder that this comes from the mods of the subreddit, not Square Enix or People Can Fly. So first of all, I'd like to remind everyone to be civil when discussing the game and to keep all feedback constructive. There are a lot of people attacking others for posting anything that isn't negative towards the game. That only shuts down conversation, which makes the point of a community forum null and void. We've never tolerated harassing members, but moving forward we will especially not tolerate calling people shills, fanboys, simps, or anything similar in order to shut someone down for saying something positive. We're all fans of Outriders and we all want the best for the game, let's keep it civil. I mean, if only the developers and publishers would actually want the best for the game and not for their pockets. They then edited their post. This also includes attacking people for sharing negative opinions. We do not wish to single out people who are negative and or positive about the game. Edit number 2, further clarification that words like hater, toxic person and anything of the sort used to shut down someone being critical of the game will not be tolerated either. So the next part is based on respect towards developers. Secondly, we all get the frustration of losing your inventory or having this one nagging bug that makes your experience in the game especially annoying. But we also feel we should address a few things regarding this. Development takes time. Yeah, as if they've not already had over 5 years to work on the game, but it's as if they've also not seen any of the other games that have released in the last 5 years and learnt from their mistakes. They carry on to say some bugs take longer than others to fix depending on how deeply rooted it is in the structure of the game. Most of the larger issues will not be fixed within the span of a month from a game's release. Please try to be patient. So, be patient. Had to wait 3 delays for the game, then had to play through a buggy broken demo, and now having to play through a buggy broken game, and the amount of time they've had isn't enough. I totally disagree with that statement. They should be able to fix a lot of this stuff faster, especially because they have a different team that work on this stuff compared to other things in the game. They are a big company that holds over 300 employees worldwide, and I know they're working on different games and stuff, so that's going to take away from the development of Outriders. But a lot of the issues don't even come from People Can Fly. It comes from Square Enix because they went cheap with their servers. And I get they're moderators on the subreddit, but they've still got to stay true to, like, the gamers, basically. Like, so many people, like mods and all the ambassadors and something, like, they just brown-nose the devs and, oh, they're trying their hardest, oh, they're doing a good job, oh, they're communicating all the time, but it's not good enough. Whether you're an ambassador or an affiliate, you've got to stay true to the part of the community you are. Like, if you're a gamer, stick to gamers. Don't feed these corporate companies, they know what they're doing. People would have known that this game wasn't a fully released product, but they still marketed it that way. They say you're free to voice your feedback towards the game, but please do not attack the developers for not having the fix you so desperately wanted in the latest patch. As noted above, development takes time. The devs are actively keeping communication open, and sometimes they cannot say more than "we are working on it," which again isn't acceptable. They seem to be taking these weekends off, and the first weekend after they did the nerfs and everything, they were still communicating, but all of a sudden since then, they just take the weekends off. But the worst thing is they release a patch on a Friday. So you get the patch on the Friday and nothing can be even spoken about until Monday because they're taking their weekends off. And then this is the main part of why I say they're treating us like children. Memes. A lot of the internet use memes. To get away from addressing the negative issues going on, we'd also like to address the flow of memes into the subreddit. Moving forward, memes will only be allowed to be posted on the weekends, Friday to Sunday. And that's apparently to keep the feed clean of low-effort postings any other days of the week. We feel this is a good compromise because the activity will spike on the weekends, while during the weekdays, when CMs and devs will be watching the subreddit, memes will not be pushing down actual posts. So when it comes to the weekend and there's more people online and there's more issues being brought forward, you're allowed to post memes and push all those issues down, but you're not allowed to do it during the week when it's more quiet, just so the devs have an easier time. I think it's absolutely just... I can't even think of words to put together. Telling people they're only allowed to do something at the weekend. And I mean, this comes from the moderators of the subreddit. It's an absolute joke. Oh, you're allowed to do this at the weekend, Friday to Sunday, but any time during the weekend it's not acceptable. Because that's when our bosses, our lords, because we're little minions, that's when our lords come along and say, you're not allowed to do this. We have less stuff to go through during the week because it's quieter times, so we would like to be able to find all the issues during the week, but when it comes to the weekend, post away, post all of your memes because we don't care about any of it. We don't look at the subreddit at the weekends. We have over 300 employees, but not a single one of them works at the weekends. No, you get the weekends off. Could you imagine telling your boss that you're only going into work during the week because it's quieter. You're refusing to work weekends. Even when your boss has asked you, the boss will be like, well, what's the point of you having this job? If I need you to come in at the weekend and you can't do it, or because it's a lot busier, what's the point? I find this absolutely stupid, ridiculous, pointless. There are issues that are going to be brought up, especially because it's louder. There's more people available to play games at the weekends because they're not working. More issues will be brought forward. But what, you're going to completely ignore everything, all communication, everything, all social media, just because it's the weekend. So people are free to do what they want. But any time during the week, and memes are not allowed. Honestly, this game isn't going to last another month. They're going to go to E3 because Square Enix are showing up. They're going to show off some DLC. It's going to excite maybe 10,000 people. They'll jump on the DLC, whether it's paid or not. They'll play it. They'll realise how much of a joke it is. And just because they've implemented the DLC, put layer upon layer of shit instead of actually fixing their issues, they'll just... It's dead game. It's literally... It's already written. The same as Avengers. Avengers released a DLC. That's another Square Enix published game. They released a DLC that hit maybe 2,500 concurrent players, and then literally a week later it's dipped below 1,000 again. This game's going to be exactly the same. And then the game that they're releasing in 2024 that's also published by Square Enix is going to be the same thing, because Square Enix are lazy, they're greedy, they won't buy dedicated servers, they do everything through P2P for this game, and they won't even bother trying to solve the issues. They just leave People Can Fly to get all of the fire. But at the same time, People Can Fly should have done a better job developing, and it's not the point of, if it was delayed another 6 months, it'd be a much better game, because they had over 5 years to work on this. 5 years, and they can't even get it right. They told us as well they was marketing the game as a fully released product. It's not live service, it's fully released. Yeah, okay, play as a Devastator, tell me how that feels. Weakest class in the game by far. Then also, even if it's not for being weak and underpowered compared to the other classes, play Devastator and use Earthquake and Gravity Leap. That's all you got to do. You literally don't even have to try anything fancy. Just simply try using those two skills. Don't move whilst you're using Earthquake. Find out exactly what happens with it. Tell me this game is polished. On that note, I'm going to leave the video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff about all this in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed it.